Great girlfriends, you're invited to What Women Want 2017 conference, June 15th through 17th, 2017 in New York City, powered by Prudential.
The 2017 What Women Want experience is all about uniting women from around the world in one weekend with power talks, workshops, dance retreats, beauty and wellness tips, and authentic connectivity that will inspire you to return home ignited to create change.
This year, our theme of building bridges and breaking barriers is about women creating connections first with themselves and then with others to lead an outstanding life.
So here's what you're going to get. So at our What Women Want conference, over 200 great girlfriends will go from me to we, as our programming will self-guide girlfriends on living a self-centric life full of purpose and power to move in legacy and togetherness as women and global citizens.
You're going to connect with like-minded women who stand as bridges towards higher living and more meaningful relationships.
You're going to gain clarity on what you really want to manifest in your life and in your friendship.
Last but not least, you're going to celebrate the power and passion that women display when they leave all of their cares behind and savor the experience.
Let me tell you, ladies, you have not had an experience like this before. This is a conference, but not really a conference. It is bringing all our great girlfriends together for an amazing family reunion where we're going to love on each other, hug on each other, and really, really connect.
Yes, and we want you there. So log on to the website, www.whatwomenwantconference.com, and grab a ticket for yourself and your greatest girlfriends. We'll see you there.
Bye, guys.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Sybil Amuti.
And I'm Brandis Daniel.
You were Brandis Nicole Daniel earlier.
And I'm your co-host, Brandis Nicole Daniel.
Welcome, girlfriends. Welcome, as Brandis likes to say. Welcome.
Sybil, stop putting welcome on me.
Okay. She doesn't want to say welcome anymore. We have diction now.
Diction. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tiffany Dupu.
I love it. Happy Wednesday, girlfriends from all over the world, all 87 countries, chiming in for this epic episode. What's going on?
How was your weekend, Sib?
My weekend was amazing. Spent a big piece of it in Boston. And
Boston is,
yes, for a beautiful baby shower for our great girlfriend, Kristen Pope.
Congratulations, Kristen. Kristen, I'm so sad I couldn't make it to Boston. I wanted to be there so bad, but I'm going to come up there and make it when that Bambino arrives.
Yeah, she looks so beautiful. It was just fantastic. And I'm so happy because it's all over Instagram, so I can share. She and her husband just purchased their home. And so we had a chance to go to their new home. And I'm just really happy for her. So, new baby.
New home.
See, this is why I don't have kids anymore.
Why?
Because I still have fertile friends who are just popping out kids. So I don't need to do that anymore.
Sybil.
No, I'm good. I can just enjoy all the community babies.
Great girlfriends, you guys join me in prayer.
Girl. Let me tell you something.
Someone's about to curse me out on the Great
Let
Girlfriend.
me tell you something. My husband come from New York and show up on this podcast like, Brandis, you don't get your life right. Let me tell you, my own kids don't want any more kids. They're so content.
I know they are.
Because they're like, wait a minute, you mean we have to share more? We don't want to do that.
Dylan would have a fit.
Oh, you already know Dylan would just, not for her.
A fit.
So What Women Want is happening. We're so excited.
It is happening. I'm so super excited about it. I cannot wait. We only have, a few more weeks. And I was in Memphis last week because my niece, Tasia Lamar, graduated from high school.
Congratulations.
And while I was there, so many of our girlfriends were saying they're coming. So
awesome.
Memphis is showing up, Sybil.
I'm so excited. I could use some of that 901 love. Can't wait to see our Memphis girls.
I know. So we're so excited. I saw a few comments. Shay Hall, Shay, if you're listening, we are going to be releasing the location. If we haven't already, we're releasing it this week. So you guys will have that information. And any other information that we haven't released yet, that we're going to make sure that it's all on our website. So you guys will have all of that information. Just keep checking the site and it'll be there.
Yes, and special shout out to Prudential, the hostess with the mostest.
The hostess with the mostest. They are rolling out the red carpet. So our conference on Thursday, we're actually going to be in a really swanky spot in New York. It's a surprise, but we're going to let that cat out the bag very, very soon. And then on Friday, we're actually going to be at Prudential's headquarters in Newark, New Jersey, where our conference is going to take place in their beautiful auditorium. Yes. And then they're opening up their swanky, kind of outdoor patio for us. So we're super excited. We have you guys all covered. We're providing transportation from the city to Prudential's headquarters for all our great girlfriends. So don't worry about that at all. We got you covered. And then on Saturday, Deandra is leading up our Saturday activities, which is going to be so much fun. All kind of different places in the city that we have planned, from the Met Museum to Fifth Avenue to kayaking to, what am I missing, Sybil?
Freedom Tower,
Chelsea.
Yeah.
It will be all over the city.
Yes. And the other thing that we forgot, or now we've opened up, is our one-day passes. So for those of you that are saying, I can't make all 3 days, or I have to be home in time for Father's Day, so I can only be there Friday, we have a one-day pass available for Friday, June 16th. So exciting, because those tickets are selling fairly well as well, but we really want to make sure if you want to be there, that you have the opportunity. We also have some amazing hotel choices. And if you just, have any other questions, make sure you log on to our Facebook group, The Great Girlfriends, and shoot any questions over. Or you can send us an email at welcome@thegreatgirlfriends.com.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's happening June 15th through 17th.
It's happening. We're almost 2.
I know.
We are almost 2 years old. This podcast is almost 2. It feels like we're 5.
Right. But it's less than 2 years. It's close to 2 years. That's amazing.
It's amazing. And that goes into our episode for today.
What are we talking about, Brandis?
So today we're going to talk about a topic that is going to touch every single great girlfriend. So as Sybil would say, pen and paper.
Pen and paper.
Bring it out. Because the only way, A, we're doing this conference, and B, we're about to turn 2, is because we both had this one thing.
Which is?
That's super special, which is belief.
Yes.
So this episode is all about belief. And what do you believe?
Brandis is going to hold church today.
Because I know, I feel a sermon coming on in my spirit.
I love it. Preach, preacher.
Because, my mom says that all the time.
Does she? She's so good. Preach, preacher.
Oh, Lord. So, look, that leads me really quickly. We went to church with my grandmother while we were in Memphis, and it's a Church of Christ, so there's absolutely no music, right? So the pastor's like, "Amen." Why Sky so loud? Amen.
Yes, Sky. That's that good church baby. Everyone needs one. You need a good church baby to back up the pastor every now and then.
That's the most noise they've had in that church.
That's so cute.
God.
Amen.
But what we believe plays so much into the results of our life.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, I think it shapes our thoughts, it shapes our behaviors, our patterns, our actions. Everything corresponds with that root of what do we believe? What do we believe is true? What do we believe is false? What do we believe is possible? What we say is impossible? What do we believe we are entitled to? Or what do we think we're disqualified from?
Absolutely. And really, if you look at our life and the life you're living right now is literally a result of what you believe.
It is. It is. And I think in my life, what I've seen is on this course that I'm on now, I'm on a path of the fulfillment of the things that I believe. Like the fulfillment is unfolding for me day by day, moment by moment, year by year. I'm seeing things and I look back at when I first believed that these things were possible. And I'm now watching the fulfillment take place or experiencing the fulfillment take place now.
And how long ago, like, so if you can think about like the length of time, so you believed it in 19, can you give us like a time frame on like when you believe for some of the things that you're seeing come to fruition now?
When I think about it, there were my intentional years have probably been about 5 intentional years of me actually placing corresponding action to everything that I thought was possible for me. But in terms of my belief, I went home, I looked back over like letters I wrote to my parents, things that I dreamed and things that I asked them for or hopes that I had. And so many of those things were always there or they were nestled. I just didn't understand that they were possible at the time that I believed it. So I think I was sort of in a holding zone. And I was just in a really beautiful wedding in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Ariel, my boo, and her husband. And so as in this wedding, Ariel talked about how for all the years that she had not met Lee, her husband, she was hidden and that she had a belief that there was a certain caliber of man that she was entitled to, but everyone that she ran into was counter to that, right? So she had this belief that it was out there. She just didn't know where. And when she met Lee, she realized that God had hidden her from, from those people or those things or those that were not right for her so that Lee could find her. And I feel like in life, sometimes we have those moments where we're hidden from things out of protection and we're hidden from things in an effort for the good to find us where we need to be.
Yeah.
So there were years that I thought I, should have certain things, but my mind wasn't prepared. My spirit my energy wasn't there. My focus wasn't there. So if God had given me those things prematurely, I would have turned, for example, I thought I, could have, would have got a husband in my early 20s. If I had gotten Kwaku at 22, we'd be divorced today.
Right.
Like it just wouldn't have been, It's like, I just know. Even in business, I had a business at 22 that was doing fairly well that I dropped because I wasn't ready. Not because it wasn't ready, like God, that wasn't ready, but I wasn't ready. And I feel like certain things are just placed in a holding or a hidden pattern for us so that at the appointed time we can have. But the belief was always there. What about you?
I feel like my belief it depends on what it's for, right? So my belief started for the life that I wanted to live. My belief started when I was really, really young. And I kind of think about like what I saw for myself. I think about like I wrote a check to my mom for some like $100,000 or something like that. And so I kind of always believed I would live a certain life. Mm-hmm. And I always saw like a whole lot for myself. So I feel like my belief started for me when I was younger and that I'm still on that path.
Yeah.
To getting what I see or what I saw even when I was a young girl. But I see it unfolding. Like I feel like I'm on the journey.
Yeah.
I'm on the path. You know what I mean? I'm not there, but I'm on that journey.
Uh-huh.
And so that feels really good. And even when I think about when I first started my business, Harlem's Fashion Row, and some things that I wrote down and I saw for that business 10 years ago, some of those things I'm just now seeing happen. Mm-hmm. And I always wondered, like, why didn't this happen before? And I think there was a lot of things that needed to be shaped in me, like confidence. I wasn't totally confident when I first started. So I didn't really know how to deal with creatives. Dealing with creatives takes a whole different set of skills to be able to do it in a way where they respect you and listen to you and you can communicate them with the right type of sensitivity. I didn't have that at first. Mm-hmm. So it was like certain things and hurt and pain, and some of it was really, really painful, that I had to go through to get to a place where I could launch some of the things I'm able to launch now.
Yeah.
But I saw it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I guess the lesson in that is sometimes it takes time. Most of the time it takes time, right?
Yeah, and it takes a maturity, it takes growth. Because I feel like, as we start thinking about business, when I think about my professional life and I look at the progression of clients that I've been blessed to work with over time, I know that there were, and don't get me wrong, I can think back when I thought I was such a boss. I was like, yes, I'm going to have X, Y, and Z, and as a client, and I'm going to generate this much revenue, and I'll have business in this country and that country and X, Y, Z. And when things started to happen for me was much later. But what took place in between, the beginning of my belief and my visualization of the things I started to believe was that I had to apply work and ethic and principle and, a lot of development to go with that theory that I could have all those things. So there's a space where there's theory. I can have it. I believe I can. I think I can. And then there's the application. And we don't get to say how long it will take for us to arrive at certain milestones or points in that journey. We don't get to say that. But we have to continue to apply belief along the way, even when everything, especially entrepreneurs, everything can look contradictory 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of the week. We know this, clients can just, decline work, or people cannot pay invoices, and, people don't respond to emails. There are emails I sent last year that I'm getting responses to this year because this is the time. It wasn't last year, but I sent them last year in belief, and I'm now reaping the benefit of me having applied belief now. And so that happens, right? Over the course of your life and belief, even as dating is such a particular area because we get to hear so many stories of women who are like, I know I'm a wife. I know that I'm going to make an amazing wife, and I know I deserve a great man. And yes, that's true. It's so true. And I would never tell any woman to stop believing. I would also say that there's development, right, that takes place in the journey along the way. And there's application that takes place, and there's practice that takes place. And if we don't do any of those things, we won't cultivate the type of woman that we want to be for ourselves.
So there's two things I got from what you just said. One of them is, you say we don't know how long it's going to take. We also don't know how God is going to do it.
No.
Right? So sometimes he take you through, some serious trials.
Yeah.
In that trial, you have a decision to make. Do I still believe or do I quit?
Yeah.
And sometimes, honestly, I've been at places where I was like, this is too much. But that belief for what I saw down the line was so strong, or for the purpose was so strong, that I was like, I have to keep going. Yeah. What I didn't realize now, looking back on things, which I'm sure I still have trials to go through, but looking back on things, I can see, that situation birthed X, Y, Z.
Absolutely.
That situation birthed, but you can't see it until after you've been through it and you've made it all the way through. And then the other thing you said that made me think about something was sometimes we have to be willing to do the work on ourselves.
Absolutely.
So that's investing in ourselves, doing things like going to therapy, which for me, there's no way I would have been prepared for marriage had I not gone through therapy. Mm-hmm. There were too many things from my past that had me in an emotional holding spot, mm-hmm. where I refused to kind of let go of certain emotional ties or certain things that were really holding me back because of grief. So there was that. I needed to invest in a business coach at one point because I used to manage everything through emotions. And so my emotions would get the best of me, which is so funny because when I worked and had a job, I just did everything I was a great manager. But when it came to my own business, it was very difficult for me to make tough decisions, to have tough conversations, all those things. So I needed a business coach for that. Mm-hmm. And I took an improv class. There are certain, I attended conferences, like the What Women Want conference. It's going to be great for people who are really looking to grow. Mm-hmm. So in some areas, God is going to do some things to shape you. And then in other areas, you're going to have to do things to invest in yourself so that you're prepared for whatever is next, whether that's marriage or whether that's having a great group of girlfriends or whether that's, starting a business or being promoted. Sometimes you got to invest in yourself.
Yeah. You know what's so true about that, Brandis, is we need to start asking ourselves too the difficult questions. Not being afraid to ask a friend or two that we trust who knows our heart and loves us, what could I do better at? How can I be better? Help me be smarter, help me be stronger, help me be the best me. What am I missing? What are my blind spots? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we like to avoid that conflict or what we consider conflict because we don't want to hear the things that will actually help us perfect our belief. Because when you think about it, sometimes we're challenged with believing because we know ourselves and we struggle with the fact that we're going to get in the way of our belief.
Ooh,
right?
You said a word.
But it's true. It's like, well, I know me and I know my habits, so I can't believe for the thing that I really think I qualify for because I'm going to get in the way. But what happens if I start asking questions of people in my life who I trust to say, hey, can you check in with me on this area I'm working on? This is a weak spot for me. And I don't want this to block me from this thing I'm believing.
That's so good. Sid, the first thing I thought about when you said that was people who say, I don't do other women. I don't do women.
All the time. What do you mean?
I thought about. So it's like, and so you just block yourself from having great, amazing friendships with other girlfriends because in your mind, something's happened over the years to make you say, I just don't do women.
Yeah.
I don't do women friends like that. I just don't. That's just not been my thing. Well, why?
Yeah.
Like, can't we and you see other women having amazing friendships and you're like, you have such great friendships. How do they make that happen? Well, you know what? Invest, a few $100s, go to a therapist, work through it, figure it out, get to the root, and move on with life. Yeah. Whatever it is that's stopping you, just deal with whatever that means, dealing with it means for you. But it does a lot of times mean getting some outside assistance, getting some outside perspective, getting someone who can help you work your way through that particular thing.
Yeah, I think, and what I'm hearing you say is when you truly believe in what you see, feel, want, and deserve, you will put your whole being behind it. Like you'll put all that you are, that you have, that you want, including what some people value as their most valuable resource, which would be money. You will put money behind the thing that you believe. And if it calls for therapy, if it calls for a coach, if it causes for you to get, a brand strategist, hint, hint, if it causes for, if it's going to What Women Want 17, hint, hint, if it's calling on friends and family to be accountable to you and to support you, whatever it is, you make the investment because you want your belief to equal something valuable to you. Like, I want to know that when I wake up every day and I believe that I'm going to be the best woman I can be today, I want some evidence at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I want all my bubbles to be bursting. I want my friends and family to feel nurtured. I want my business to feel nurtured. I want to feel happy. And so I think, Brandis, when we look at, why we should believe, I love what you said. Belief is free.
Oh my goodness. Yes, it's so free. Okay, let's look at why we have trouble believing. So I would say number one is past hurt. So we've been hurt before and we've all been hurt. In some way, we've all been hurt. We've all been through something. But you can't let that hurt stop you from moving forward. And you can't let that hurt stop you from believing.
Right. It's the past. We got to learn to leave the past behind us.
Yes.
Literally in every way. Or because we're afraid to be disappointed because of that past hurt, it makes us feel like, our next situation is doomed or the inevitable will come upon us. And there's even a quote that says, the thing you fear the most has come upon you. And that's a result of you believing in the fear and creating the disappointment that comes along with it.
Yes. And then I think for some people, not for some people, for a lot of people, it's really hard to believe something that you've never seen.
Absolutely.
But that's what faith is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Believing in something that you don't see, but you still believe that it's possible. And if you don't believe in something that you've never seen, how do you show your children something that they've never seen?
Yeah.
How do you show your nieces and nephews or your cousins or the next generation in your family something that they've never seen? Somebody has to believe for something more.
I know. And I love the idea of those that are, hearing or seeing impaired, and they have experiences. They don't see. It's not about seeing, it's about experiencing something. And experience comes from all of your senses. It's not just about what's in front of me or what I can visually take a look at, therefore I know it's true. It's about what encounters have I had with love? What encounters have I had with faith? What encounters have I had with God? What encounters or experiences have I had with victory? But it's if we don't have the ability to do that, we won't understand that either. Or maybe we've just not been taught to believe. Maybe in our life, we've come from a glass half empty life where people around us, parents, moms, teachers, neighborhood, professors, jobs, everywhere we go, we're hearing the worst of everything. It can never be. It won't be. I don't see how. Girl, that's impossible. You know we can't. If you try that, don't do that. It's gonna be this. All you're hearing is the possibility of failure, or all you're seeing or all you're experiencing is the possibility of failure. You're not being taught the possibility of belief.
That's so true, Sid. And going back to what you said earlier, belief is free.
Yeah.
It don't cost us anything to believe, and we can believe anything. There's no limits on what we can believe.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's if you don't believe that something can happen, you won't go after it. So if you don't take this gift of belief and pour it into that amazing idea that you dream about in your 5 to 9, which is after your 9 to 5, if you don't pour it into it, you will not see it happen. You won't. If you don't believe that it can happen, it won't happen.
That's so true. That is so true. And then many things that you'll receive will come from believing. Like, there is nothing in my life that I can see that extraordinary that has happened. Even like this podcast. Like, you and I, at a certain point, we see what the great girlfriends can be.
Yeah.
We see what it can be. And I can see it like now coming into fruition, like the things that we believe for this podcast.
Yeah. I mean, listen, didn't tell you how crazy Brandis is.
So stupid.
We barely had a link to an episode, and Brandis was talking about a conference in Miami. No, we need to hold a conference next year in Miami. I'm like, conference in Miami? First of all, you're pregnant. First of all, that's first. Second of all, we don't even have an audience, do we? Like, we weren't even out the gate yet. This was before. I promise y'all, girlfriends, this is before we had officially gotten it released. We were in the planning stages, and Brandis was like, yeah, because next year in Miami, just 75 women. Do you remember this, Brandis?
I do.
And I was like, what about this baby you're having? How are we going to do all this? I'm the pessimistic one on this side. And then Brandis is like, no, we're just going to do 75 women. But here we are into year 2 of What Women Want in New York. We going from 100 and a change of some women to almost 300 women. And that's 2 years. And that's because belief went behind. We applied all the effort that we put behind our belief, made it possible.
Yeah. And what's funny to me is when you believe something, other people believe it too.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like when you truly believe something, people get on board. They're Absolutely. Like, okay, this is what you're doing. All right. How can I support it? But people will not get on board with something until they see you are 100% in.
And that is all the way true. It's like when we don't believe, we turn away great opportunities because we don't believe we could or should or would have them.
That's so
people
true.
will withdraw their support. You'll find, and we talked about this in another episode, how your corner gets stale or stagnant. When we stop having belief in our life, we look around and all we have is brunch buddies. That's all we got. We got Netflix and chill buddies. We got brunch buddies who want to just sit around and talk about what's happening in everyone else's life. and no one can talk about what's happening in theirs. And I know some of y'all sitting there like, dang, I got to look at my brunch list. But you do. You have to look around and you have to recognize, all right, are people withdrawing their support from me? Like, do I feel like I have resources available? That's because you've put enough belief out there that people know I am waiting on the edge of my seat for the next thing that my great girlfriend is going to do, because she always applies belief and she gets results with it.
It's so true. Somebody told me recently there was a really great opportunity that they were presenting with their boss to this young lady. And she sat there at the table and literally denied what was being offered to her, which was a nice check, by the way.
Wow.
Reason she didn't even know she was denying the check, though, Sybil. And the reason she denied it was because of what she believed she deserved.
Wow.
She thought he was asking her for something free. He wasn't asking her for something free. He was literally, but you know, when you believe a certain thing about yourself, you start to hear whatever it is you believe.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely true.
If you believe that you're the $50 girl, when somebody's offering you $5,000, you don't even hear it, because in your heart, you're the $50 girl.
Yeah.
So you're turning down the $5,000 offer.
Yeah.
Why? Because you don't even hear $5,000.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It's also like what we believe.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that is a true story.
Yeah.
She fully turned it down and didn't even know she was turning it down. The guy was like fully saying what he was offering, and she fully turned it down.
Oh my gosh.
And didn't know it.
And then the story becomes
because of what she believed about herself.
Yeah. And then her story becomes, this is what I don't have. I can't. This is not available to me. You know, that's impossible for me, when it's right in front of us sometimes.
Yep, right in front of us.
Yeah.
So what do we do, Sid?
Man, listen, girlfriends, listen. This is what we do. We have to start to believe again. And that means we have to place confidence in something that is beyond us sometimes. And that means we have to apply an opinion or a conviction around some of the things, you know, that we have negotiated, I say, with God, because I believe that God plants these ideas and he plants these visions, and he'll plant like samples of exposure to a life that we've never known before. You could even be watching reality TV, and you could be watching The Housewives, and you start seeing women driving cars you've never seen before. And maybe that's a preview for you of something that's possible for you. It might hit you, you know, you might see someone driving a Bentley, and all of a sudden you go, wow, I didn't know we could drive Bentleys. I thought Bentley was for X, Y, and Z type person. Well, it lets you know what's possible. And if you feel like that's something that you want in your life, you place belief. Or maybe it's owning this multi-million-dollar business, or even starting a $10 business. Or maybe it's a husband. Maybe it's a friendship. Maybe it's healing. Maybe you're believing for forgiveness in your family. Maybe you're believing for a home, or, you know, maybe you're believing for a promotion on a job that you have. Whatever it is, you have to apply some conviction. And conviction is, it becomes true to you in your bones. It's like, I know that this is available to me. That this is something that I deserve or I will have in my life.
Yeah.
So it's applying it as a truth. It's not something that someone can discourage you of. No one can come and knock me off the idea that my family will not be multimillionaires. We've come too close for it to not be possible. You can't tell me that. It's just a matter of time and application.
Right.
That's all. So
that's true.
You have to believe again.
Absolutely. So it's like sometimes it's opening our minds on what's possible, you know, and even if we have no knowledge on it, how do we surround ourselves with people who do?
Right.
And sometimes that's reading a book. So I just picked back up Tony Robbins' book on money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not well versed on investments and how you're really supposed to make money work for you. So that's like, okay, so then how do I like immerse myself in that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there's a lot of areas where I'm not real strong in. So guess what? I'm listening to podcasts on it. I'm trying to read books on it. I might take a class on it. So it's like whatever it is that you want to do, that you believe, start surrounding yourself by that thing that you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be in, like, you might not know anyone personally that, is well versed in the thing that you believe. But, if you want to start a zoo in Zimbabwe, then go find people who own zoos in Zimbabwe. Somebody's written a book on it. So whatever it is you believe, like, start to surround yourself with people who've done it. And sometimes that's like virtually.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always locating a blueprint. Always.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then last but not least, is surrounding yourself with people that believe. I know without doubt that proximity is the power to everything that we have in our life, everything that we unlock. And it comes from us having the energy, having the thought leadership, the influence, the persuasion, the connection with people who are all pushing us forward. And it's iron sharpening iron. And in that sharpening process, it's like a refining. So, that's that. Brandon's face is like, yes, Lord. But it's the sharpening process. Everyone says, iron sharpens iron. But what about the sharpening? We forget that sometimes the sharpening is painful, that it has intense pressure, that it's going to cause some slicing or cutting of things that don't fit in our lives in an effort to replace with things that are more fulfilling for our lives. So being in that process of sharpening is a good thing. And I think that's part of the belief process, is the sharpening, so that you can be the strongest you can be, and you can be prepared and equipped to sustain whatever it is that you're going to manifest. And only way you're going to get a really good sharpening process, like a strong one, is by being around people who challenge your complacency, challenge your disbelief, challenge your application, and then by people who nurture you. They nurture your belief, they nurture your strengths, and they nurture your application. You need a balance of both. I think that's the beautiful harmony. If you run away from the people that can challenge you and sharpen you, you miss the opportunity to be better. Absolutely. If you're only being nurtured, you will think you're the strongest at everything, and you'll miss all your blind spots. And that's why you need to have that sharpening process refined in your life. If everything's so easy breezy for you, you ain't got nothing to work on, that's a problem.
That is a problem.
Your belief is going to be stagnant.
And if you're in a place, the one thing you don't have time to do while you're believing is fight people who don't believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prove something to people you don't believe.
Yeah.
Believing takes effort. It takes energy.
Yeah.
So if you're while you're doing that, if you have to then, try to prove something to someone who doesn't believe, it just takes too much energy away. You just can't spend your energy in that way.
But you know what? Most of the time when you think you're trying to prove to the person that disbelieves, you're trying to prove to your disbelief.
Oh.
Because I don't have to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah.
I can tell you about what I believe, but if I find myself where I'm always trying to prove in my mind to other people, that's me trying to sell it to myself.
But sometimes it can be family members that are close to you. And some people are in situations where when they say this, they've got somebody in their family that says, girl, Sally went over there and tried to do that, and you see she bankrupt now. Yes. So I guess what I'm saying is, in that surrounding yourself by people who believe, you really also have to be careful about sharing your belief with everyone. That's not, just make sure you're really careful with who you even open yourself up to, because you don't have time to fight that battle while you're believing.
Yeah.
You don't have time to spend your energy there.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't put any energy there. No.
Don't put any energy there at all. But so much is possible for us. Like literally the only thing that's blocking us most of the time is what we believe. That's the only thing.
Yeah. And it's got to go beyond sight. It has to be
It
about
has to go
encounters.
beyond sight.
It can't be, I can only believe what I see. It's got to be, I've had so many great, abundant experiences. And that's the thing about belief. It's so much deeper than just what's around us. It's more about looking at our life overall and really seeing that the possibilities have been greater than the impossibilities. They really have. They
Yes.
really, really, truly have. We've had a lot of impossibilities. A lot of people have said no, but there have been so many more yeses along the way, even
Yes.
from birth to present day. And if we could stack them all up, we would be overflowing with belief because we recognize that there's so much more greater things happening than there are negative things. And so
That's
if we continue to flood ourselves with just reminders of these encounters with belief that were had before we were born, before we were known in our mother's womb, like he knew us. And even like, so many of our parents labored to have us here. I mean, I labored, Lord knows. Belief allowed me to do that, and belief will now allow our children to go forth. They got a head start because we poured all of that into getting them here. So if we
yeah.
take all of that and layer it and stack it up and keep reinforcing it in our lives that, belief that we are able and capable and we have it and it's available to us. And if we really change our perspective and see and experience what we do have that's been there with us all along, I think it will give us more energy to move forward in whatever it is we desire. And more
I,
hopeful.
what I saw when you were saying that was literally being squares in a room with all these yeses that we received over the years.
I know.
If yes was a box,
yeah,
would be like honestly, if every yes we've gotten in our lives, every favorable yes, every prayer answered was a box, and then we stacked up the no's, the yeses would overwhelm us.
Yeah.
We'd be in a corner from yes boxes.
Yeah. Yes. And it's true. It's so true.
But what we like to do is go through all those boxes, find the few no's.
Pick the no's, yeah.
And we're surrounded by yeses. Yeses are on top of our head, but we go to those no's and we squeeze those no boxes real tight.
Yeah, yeah.
We dig through all the yeses.
Yep.
And the no's, and we squeeze those so tight, and we allow those few no's to affect our belief instead of all the yeses that are just overwhelming us.
And you know what's crazy about that, and amazing about that, is that taking those no's and grabbing them up, we get pure distractions. Takes us all off our course of belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just distractions.
Yeah. Oh, pure distractions.
This is a wrap. Oh my goodness.
Wrap.
Oh, friends, I hope you had your pen and paper out on that one.
I know. Girlfriends, we love you. And husbands, we love you. Kwaku, love you so much.
And Rich, love you so much, babe.
Sam and Dilly, love you so, so much.
And Miss Sky, we're going to see a daycare for Sky today.
Yay! Sky's going to school. Yes. And thank you, girlfriends all around the world for trusting us, rather, as your go-to source for everything life, love, and laughter. Please make sure you listen each week on iTunes, Stitcher, Podcast Republic, Podcast Bean, Blueberry, and every other podcasting service.
Absolutely. And check us out on our social, on Instagram.
The Great Girlfriends.
On Twitter.
_Great GFS.
Facebook.
The Great Girlfriends.
And make sure you check us out and that you join our Facebook group, which is
The Great Girlfriends. Make sure you post your questions online. You share with your friends. Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil.
I'm Brandis.
And we're signing off. Peace.
Bye, guys.